Hi, Dr. Cora Stack here again. Just another kind of an issue. This is just one of many kind of issues that I've had. Is that I use a particular shop to get ink from my computer. Obviously it would be very important in court. To do court documentations that you need ink, particularly black ink. And the last number of times I've gone in to this huge big shop, the person has said, "We've no black ink." So I've gone back a few times and I said, "Look, there's something going on here. There's the pattern. You see, it's, when it happens more than once or twice, there's the kind of a pattern." And he says, "You were really smart. We all know you were very clever. You're really, really clever. We all know you're really, really smart. We all know that." Yeah, that he couldn't find the ink for me. So I'm without ink for the last month, and you can hardly read. So it's impossible to actually write affidavits or anything like that, and it's really difficult. And my scanner isn't working either. And so would somebody from a particular force have gone in and said, here's a few quid, or I'll do you a favor for a favor. Don't give her any ink, because that's blocking her. And then when I ring certain Garda stations, blocker, 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 and no Gardaí will answer the phone if they think I'm on it. And of course, what I'm doing is on a mission to find out why they're blocking me, what they're up to. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with all of this, so to try and figure it all out. So it's a kind of an investigation for me to try. But that kind of harassment, is absolutely desperate. So I'm trying to get to the bottom of why they're doing this and who's behind it. So I can only conclude that it's party orders, like the Simon Harris party orders. And of course, we all know now that Gardaí drive around ministers, so you could have it that way as well. So I mean, how big is the loop, going on here against me? Well, they haven't won, and they haven't won, but maybe they don't need that kind of help that I've just described, in that paper. And I don't know how I'm still alive with all that harassment, and I'm not going to go to the ombudsman because, on principle, I won't do it. I won't do it. But it's shocking, really, the sneakiness of it all. Real sneaky, sending all these stitch up artists into my home, and then, making sure I've got no ink, and, other things like that. All real sneaky. It's just, you see, I see the patterns, and that's why going around being knowing that it was a stitch up of a presidency, that I was going into the firing squad in County Clare and all that. Just going into the firing squad, sure, I knew it. Like, it was trying to figure out what, I had to try and figure out the scam. And the real stink for me was when I found out that I couldn't use the Protective Disclosures Act to disclose all this keeper, because the courts had been removed from the Act, or the powers of the Act, by the establishment of the Commission, by Minister McGrath. So, and I'd already referred it to Pascal O'Donoghue, who had referred it to somebody else, who had, so it said, it was clear as day, it was full of loopholes, and nobody wanted it to be ever disclosed to the courts. Well, I think it's pretty much there now. So, well, there it is. So, they didn't succeed against all that harassment and all those blocks. They haven't succeeded. And what were we going to do? The whole lot of them, put them all behind bars? Is that the answer? I don't think so. I think they all need to do this paper there on, Justin Kelly there. You should have a look at it and clean up his act with his force, and perhaps it needs to happen in other places as well. And as someone said, I should have been the chief psychologist of my university. People used to say that to me during the TUD. Why aren't you the chief psychologist of the TUD? You're brilliant. And now I could be the chief criminologist, and the chief lawyer, and the chief this and the chief that. And why aren't I chief anything? That's it, because I don't play that kind of dirty game. I never play that kind of game, and it's disgusting in the extreme. But it needs to be cleaned up, and this is how I'm suggesting it does, using these kind of more humane approaches to this sort of carry keeper, and this is all corruption. Don't give her the ink, and make sure the scanner isn't working, and then get everything off her email. My phone is gone. One of my major phones has disappeared from my house. That is all I can't find it, and I think that happened before this Interpol person allegedly came to my house. Very, very clever. She was very, very clever. Played the part brilliantly. She was too good just for Airbnb, way too good at what she was doing. But anyway, and the person in the Bridewell who sat beside me during a very difficult case, he was brilliant altogether. I mean, you couldn't get a better actor. He was priceless. If you had it in a movie, you wouldn't. I think that was the funniest of all of them. Was the Chapman had me waiting there for hours and hours, and of course he was calling his friend, come over here and do this to this one. She's annoying us. And I think I said something like, "I know you're game" or something. I made someone a comment like that, and I think they thought I knew more than I did. I don't know what I was talking about. Corruption in the legal, in the family law profession, as I'd experienced it, and allegedly, and I wanted to report it, and I was left there for 5 hours in the station while so and so the siege was being rang, and he arrived beside me and he was saying, "Are you going on your holidays?" Because I had my court back, "Are you going on my holidays?" and all this kind of shit. He was brilliant. Now he was dressed up like from the he was absolutely priceless. I mean, you couldn't have made a better movie from of all of the incidences. That fellow was a genius. He really was he was so funny. He was great crack. He really was brilliant crack. So we'll have to forgive the Bridewell for their tactics, and that he was unbelievable crack. But I couldn't go on holidays for a long time. I was so terrified that someone like him would shoot me. I mean, that's the fear. While he was unbelievable crack and phenomenal, a phenomenal actor, and he was really just playing the part. And of course, he was rang up by the crowd because they didn't see me until he arrived, and then he said he had to go out. You see, and I left my bag outside. You see, I didn't bring it in, and of course, I